Talking to Phil from Sacred Reich. Phil, thanks for taking my call.
Oh, my pleasure.
You guys have been around since the mid-'80s, except for a short hiatus. Now, starting in Phoenix, what can you tell me about the scene back in Phoenix back in the day?
Oh, it was pretty healthy. Tons of bands. Like our big brother band was always Flotsam and Jetsam, so they kind of paved the way for us. Jason, when he was back in the band before he joined Metallica, was like a big, huge supporter and a big help, and really kind of pointed us in the right direction as far as getting things done.
You took a hiatus from 2000 to 2006 or so. What happened there? Why was that? Did you split up, or did you just become jaded with something?
Yeah, it just felt like everything had kind of run its course at the time, and we didn't have any new material, and it just seemed like it was time to do something else. So we stopped playing music, and then around 2006-07, we started working on some reissue stuff, and it was fun to do Sacred Reich stuff, and we thought, man, maybe, I wonder if anyone would care if we wanted to do some shows, and there was interest, and we started playing again in 2007.
So back active again. How active are you? Are you full-time? You touring?
Well, yeah. I mean, now we put out our first record in 23 years, came out in August, and we've been touring. We did some touring in May and then in June, and then we just did, once the record came out, we did a big tour in the U.S. with Guar for 2 months, and then we went over and did a headlining tour in Europe. And then obviously we're getting ready to come over to Australia. We have a couple shows in Japan, New Zealand. Then we're going to come back and tour the U.S. with Sepultura. And
now, you mentioned your first album in 20-something years. What was it like going back into the studio after that long a break? Was it a daunting experience?
No, it was a really awesome experience, actually. The first day that we were in the studio again, we almost had to pinch ourselves. It didn't even feel real. And then the studio's a super fun place that you can be creative and just, hear all your work come to fruition. And it was really a great and very positive experience for us.
Now, you mentioned coming to Australia. This will be insane. Late February, you're doing Canberra, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, and finishing up here in Adelaide, bringing your old friends Violence. That'll be just an insane tour.
Yeah, it's going to be great. We haven't been there. I think the last time we were there was 1993 or 94 with Sepultura, which was totally out of control. So really looking forward to it. We had a lovely time then, and I expect to have a great time again. I think Australia is super fun, and the people are wonderful. And I think, with everything that's been going on, I think people need to go out and have some fun.
They certainly do. I remember that Sepultura tour that you were on. What a crazy night that was.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it was a really great first impression of Australia for us.
How do you enjoy the long flights, or how? Hang on, I'll rephrase that. We're a long way away. A lot of bands have had. I can't even think of the right way to say the question, so I won't even bother. Look, it'll be great to have you down here again. I can't think of the right way to word it, man, so I'm just going to fuck it up. So,
I mean, who likes sitting on a plane for 14 hours? Nobody. But there's obviously much worse things to do, so it's just how it is. I mean, how hard is just sitting there? It's not that hard. Oftentimes, people talk about travel being difficult, and mostly the plane does all the work, so I don't think it's that tough of a job.
Look, I went to the US with my wife 2 years ago, and we didn't do too many flights, but I said to her a number of times, how do these bands do it, playing in a new place every day? I mean, sure, it's exciting, you get to see new places and that, but the to and from the airport, living out of a suitcase, man, it must be a drag.
It's not the worst thing in the world, and, getting to play music is such a gift, and we're so fortunate to be able to do it. It's fairly hard to complain about having to go to the airport. I mean, there's obviously more fun things to do with your life than standing in line and waiting around and sitting on flights, but you know, my wife's a nurse. She has a really hard job. You know, she deals with things that are very difficult. She works 12-hour shifts. It's very physically demanding and mentally demanding. So, you know, every time I think about if I have it tough or I want to complain, I just shut the hell up. I remember Adelaide last time because weed was legal there. I think that was the thing I remember. That weed was legal, or at least decriminalized something. Everyone had weed there.
Look, I don't do the stuff, but it's decriminalised, I think is the right term, and we are known as the weed capital.
Yeah, everyone brought weed. I remember everyone had weed, and everyone brought weed and said, "Hey, you want some weed?" Everyone was growing their own weed. I was like, "This place is really cool." I don't really smoke very much, you know, very, very occasionally these days. I just remember that.
Hey, Phil from Sacred Right, thanks so much for taking my call, and look forward to you playing Here with Violence at the end of February and in Adelaide on the 1st of March. Thanks so much for taking the call, and we'll see you then.
All right, man. Thanks so much. We really look forward to coming down there.